And we got a special guest today.
Very special.
From the depths of Philadelphia, the scariest place on earth, which is what has inspired him to create the scariest podcast on earth. It's George Heftler.
Yeah. Hey everyone, how's it going?
Hi, George. I've never introed somebody before. I didn't mean to shit on your town.
No, that's okay. Hey, David Lynch himself also thought it was a pretty fucking scary place. So, okay. we take it as a compliment.
Will Smith also said it was a very scary place. So
yeah, that basketball court.
Right. He got scared.
Yeah. Nothing good went down at that basketball court.
Yeah, he took his ass straight to Bel Air. So
yeah, and of course,
couldn't hack it.
M. Night Shyamalan, very scary dude.
Yeah,
for sure.
George, you host a podcast called The Best Little Horror House in Philly, which is a real good podcast, fun podcast. I've been on it before, and now you guys have to do it. So,
I think you stole the movie I would talk about, but
I did. I got in early. I talked about Alien.
Yeah, Mike definitely got lucky there because that one would have flown off the shelf, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm surprised you just mentioned that. I don't want to spoil future episodes for you, but you did say that
we can talk about it.
You're covering Jaws soon, which I feel like I'm surprised it hasn't been covered yet.
Yeah, there's a few that at this point I'm still pretty shocked they haven't been covered. I mean, a lot of the tentpole ones, like the original Nightmare on Elm Street, none of the Friday the 13th, Halloween hasn't been picked. And I mean, up until now, Jaws, and Hellraiser as well. None of the Child's Play stuff. I mean, this podcast has got legs, baby.
You know, and that's the thing too, especially with John Saxon passing recently. You should definitely cover the Nightmare on Elm Street series at some point.
Well, so the drawback is that the concept of the show is it's the best horror movie ever made, according to our guest at least, which means that I have no control over what movie we talk about any given week because it's all up to the guest to bring their favorite, as long as it hasn't been picked already. And so for the duration of the show, I agree with them that it's the best horror movie ever made, but the actual pick is completely out of my hands. So weirdly, coincidentally, though, the episode that got released today was the Nightmare on Elm Street 7, Wes Craven's New Nightmare episode. So really coincidental timing with the unfortunate passing of John Saxon, but you know, he's great in that one as he is in pretty much everything he's in.
R.I.P. to Johnny S. Yeah. Johnny Sack.
He's also fantastic in the movie Black Christmas, where he basically played the same character.
Yeah, well, hey, and Enter the Dragon, I think, is the Bruce Lee one that he's in.
Yep, he's in Enter the Dragon too.
Have you covered your actual favorite horror movie on the podcast yet? Or is that classified information?
It's not classified, but the problem is that it does sort of shift in depending on the day and the context. I did force my friend Kirsten to talk about The Witch with me, which is definitely one of my favorites. I would say probably my actual favorite is Friday the 13th Part 2, which is it's like such a weird pick that I don't think is going to get picked for a while. So at some point, I might just force someone to come on and talk about it with me, but
yeah, and definitely not to denigrate your personal taste, but if any of the original 4 where he's not a zombie, right. Part 2 is probably the one I would not choose. I'll be frankly honest.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, so I love the Friday the 13th franchise. I think it's the most consistent by a long shot.
Absolutely.
And the fact that there's only really one entry in the franchise that is an absolute stinker, for my money at least, it says something about the quality of the franchise itself. And the fact of the matter is that anyone could pick pretty much any of the Friday the 13th movies, and I wouldn't be surprised. And I think that there's something to enjoy in all of them, even the shitty ones like Jason X and Jason Takes Manhattan. Like, where else are you going to see him punch a guy's head straight off his damn body?
And I will say, so what is the one stinker? I'm curious on your end.
Oh, it goes to hell for sure.
Oh, really? I was going to say Part 5. Part 5 is by far my least favorite. I thought that was like by far the worst one.
It's definitely not great. I would say it's towards the bottom for me, but I think there's enough interesting stuff going on that it's at least tolerable for me. It's
I think
probably not one I revisit as often as some of the other ones, but it's not one that I would like skip. Like I actively skip 9 when I'm marathoning.
Honestly, with Goes
them.
to Hell, that one's my favorite because it's also got a homoerotic shaving scene.
It
So
sure
why
does. It
why
really
would you
does.
not want to watch a movie that has a homoerotic shaving scene?
More movies should have.
The problem
that.
is it's the same issue that people had with Halloween 3, and that for a lot of the movie, Jason's not in it, and it's just a real drag that it's just kind of his spirit jumping around from body to body, and we're there to see Jason doing his thing.
And that's the thing, at least for me, Halloween 3 is my favorite Halloween movie. So for me, that does
do
not
like it, yeah.
that does not
The Witch
denigrate
here.
anything for me. Oh no, I love. I mean, we reviewed Season of the Witch earlier in the show.
And we all agreed that
yeah.
we would rather be watching Halloween 3.
Hey, yeah, you're right. But
I mean, Halloween 3 is good, so it's not necessarily a burn on Season of the Witch. But I don't know. I love Halloween 3.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I love it too. I honestly wish that it didn't have such a backlash when it came out, because I think that pretty much every Halloween movie after that, except for like maybe H2O, is pretty much garbage.
Oh,
so,
would objectively agree with that. H2O was tolerable, but Halloween 3 was the last great Halloween movie, in my opinion.
yeah. So if they had stopped including Michael Myers in it, I mean, looking at it now from outside of in the moment and not being like surprised by the fact that there was no Michael Myers in it, I think that was the right direction for them, and they kind of got locked into a shitty thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, things got weird when he got all like supernatural and.
Yeah, Mustafa Akkad throwing things off.
Well, and that was the same problem with the Friday the 13th series after Jason got killed off, because they had to bring him back somehow, and they turned him into a supernatural fucking zombie.
Yeah, right. He
at
pulls
least-
it off better though.
Oh, I agree. I will agree with that.
For sure. I definitely agree with you, George, because the Friday the 13th franchise is one of those rare ones where even the shitty ones are extremely fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas like watching Halloween 4 through 6 is borderline torture. So
Yeah.
It really is. Plus, even the remake is like pretty decent. I would say it's of the Platinum Dunes remakes, probably the best one.
I need to rewatch that one. It's been a
I would
while.
say Texas Chainsaw Massacre is probably my favorite Platinum Dunes remake. I mean, I know that's a dubious distinction, being the best Platinum Dune remake, but that one's actually my favorite.
That one's probably number 2 for me.
That's
but I just think that they managed to kind of combine some of the good parts of the first 3 movies into a pretty decent cold open in the first one, or in the remake for Friday the 13th, and that was just kind of enough to get some goodwill from me. So.
And that's the thing about the Halloween 4 through 6 you were mentioning earlier. Those movies did have one of the first appearances of Danielle Harris, who later ended up being really hot. But at the time, Bryan Singer considered her hot when the movies came out.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it all really began for you. It's kind of we're all bringing it back to kind of an origin story here.
Right.
For the man we plan to destroy.
I hope to God Bryan Singer never comes on the show, because we're going to have a lot of explaining to do.
I hope he does come on the show, because oh man, I got some stuff to say.
Well, if he does come on, he's definitely going to come on to our baby pictures later on. So
Oh god.
Yeah.
That's the exchange that you've made.
Well, this is a really good segue, because it brought